Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. This is Vivian Guzman, your host for My Spiritual Money RX. For those of you who are new to our show, this is for money magnet activation, collapsing time, space, reality to get to 6 or 7 figures and beyond with ease, grace, and flow. And today I'm calling all women entrepreneurs out there who have this characteristic called being a control freak. A little bit of those that like to plan, everything has to be in order, everything has to have a strategy. And for those of you who just get so chaotic when things are out of order, this show is specially for you. Our theme in October is called Surrender and Release. So let us define some of these terminologies so that we are on the same page. Surrender. Surrender means you're moving beyond the parameters and perceived safety of your ego, and you're turning your well-being over to the unlimited realm of intuition. And that's a definition by Sonia Choquette. So she's one of my favorite spiritual teachers out there who truly explained the different stages of getting to connecting with our higher source, right? And in some of my episodes, one of them, I shared with you the different stages, the awakening, the discovery, the surrender, and finally we get to the flow, right? So surrender is a word for some of us. It may mean a sign of weakness, as if you're in battle, you're at war, and suddenly you're like waving the white flag and saying, I surrender, right? And in relationships, think of your husband-wife relationship, your sibling rivalries and things like that. Sometimes when you surrender, you feel like you're the weaker link. And if you keep on doing that, then you're like, well, I've become like that in my life, and then I keep on doing it, right? But surrender is actually a very important terminology in spirituality. And I wanted to link that with how do you surrender and release and get to your aligned money flow. So that's going to be our segment for today. Now, what is ego? A lot of you hear that ego. Ego is very, very limited. It's very biased. It finds solution from a defensive and distorted point of view, which prevents you from feeling at peace or realizing your full potential. So why is that? Because your ego, think of your monkey mind. Think of your ego is just limited to the experiences that you have, the history that you or your family, your ancestors, or other people in your life have. So it cannot really make a decision based on what's about to happen in the future. So where does this happen? Well, you know how if you're a business owner, we have financial goals, we have a vision of where we want to take our company, and the question is, what are you going to do if you don't have any experience, let's say, of being a millionaire or a billionaire? So that doesn't exist in your physical reality yet. So your ego will keep on putting you in place and saying, you shouldn't change because you might just lose your friends. You might lose the love of your family. You might actually not enjoy living because you might work so hard. So that's one of the common beliefs and limitations that I've encountered every time I help these female business owners get to their 6 figures, 7 figures, and beyond goal. Is they don't have a clue how that feels, how to act, how to be, right? That specific beingness is missing in their life. So that's ego. What is spirit? So if you think about God, divine source, right? Unlimited universe. It is your higher self. Think of your guardian angel, trusting the universe, like unconditional love, which provides the most loving solution, inspired insights, and profound personal healings that are revealed. So for those of us that have experienced the beauty of spirit, it's a completely different world out there. We were programmed by society not to feel. Like, don't feel, just suppress that feeling, just suck it up, it'll all go away. However, some of us have a different way of processing feelings, right? So I wanted to bring up one of my Gold VIP clients, Miss Venus Bridget Ford, on camera because she experienced what surrender felt like. And so here she is. Hi, Venus. Thank you for being here in our show today. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. It's so great to be here with all your lovely people in your
Yes,
audience.
thank you. Yeah, so Venus, I remember when I first met you, I think you saw me on YouTube or
Hmm.
some kind of show that I'm having, and you saw a client testimonial of mine that she went from broke to 120K in 90 days, and you
Yes.
had this connection. So can you share with the audience what was that? Like, what did you see in me that made you connect with me and pick up the
Mhm.
phone and say, I'd like to talk to this lady and have a free clarity call?
Gotcha. Well, first off, you're just a lovely lady, Vivian. I mean, like, how can not, I mean, anyone not want to be affiliated with you? That's like first off. But really for me, it was like, just like you were talking about earlier about surrendering. For me, surrendering is listening to the spirit of God. So that's what happened for me is what I was in a state of surrendering or and I just was like, God, I need to be led. I want more. So you know how that saying, I don't know if I can get it verbatim, but when you're ready, when the student is ready, then the teacher will appear, right? And that's pretty much what happened to me. So, I literally was just looking and following the spirit. Spirit was like, just seek out some spiritual shows. You watch all these shows on TV. We kind of watch all kinds of shows. And I was like, well, let me try to watch something that's going to benefit me and put me on a higher plane. And then, I don't know. I think, well, I've just recently learned in the VIP program and with just the teachings of Vivian how to muscle test. But I think that I was always doing like a little muscle test when it comes down to spirit, maybe more like mentally or energetically or something like that. And that's basically what I did. I did pretty much like a muscle test. And then I chose your show. And that's when I seen this story of, is her name Ella? Ella? Yes. And when I heard that story, it was so like it was just surreal for me. So, it just really touched me. And I think when you listen to spirit, then spirit would tell you things. Everybody hears different, but you just have to get in tune with your own self and then follow that voice. And then when she went on talking about her experience, and then she went on to talk about the Sedona retreat, and literally the camera showed she literally had chills on her arm. And I was like, wow. So that whole, I was like, wow, I need that. I want some type of spiritual awakening. Here I am in this world, and it's like I actually want to be more connected with spirit. So through that whole experience, just finding you on the your show, that's been like the beginning of my entire journey. And I'm like, wow, at this point.
Your fears of
Mm-hmm.
change, of course,
Yes.
right? So share with us some of your real fears. Like what happened when you took the call,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we scheduled the call and you stepped into your
Yes.
greatness. What happened after that? What fears showed up?
Oh my God. I meant like all
All
kinds of
kinds of fears.
fears. It was
Oh,
all kinds of fear of just moving outside of my environment, fear of having enough money. That's like a
mm,
very, very common fear.
yep.
Fear of am I really, am I listening right? Did I get that right? You always want to
Mm,
know, are you getting the message that God is telling you or showing you?
mhm.
Fear of just the unknown, just the uncertainty, me having to come from a place of thinking from lack, and then stepping
Yeah.
into my 7-figure self, you know so, so fear of not even knowing what that looks like, and all of that,
Mm,
but then I had to realize, I always realize my name and how God named me and what's the meaning of my name. And
yeah.
for me, the meaning of my name is love, and I
Mm,
balance it with truth. So I always have to really step within myself, turn inward and just realize who I am. And that's how I was raised, that pure love drives out fear. So whenever you're feeling fearful of anything in your life, just fill yourself up with love, self-love, and then let it kind of shine and project out to loving other people. Do you see what I'm saying? And that right there, it seems like everything goes away when you get yourself centered in that way. So that's how I have dealt with the fear. I drive it out with love, Vivian.
thank you for sharing your story. Now, I wanted to share with the audience the steps needed to surrender, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
number one is you have to allow yourself to feel your emotions.
Yes.
Feel your emotions from the heart because your body will reveal what's going on. And number two, know that this surrender process, it happens in stages. It's not a single moment, right? You had fear on that first day when you said yes to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Venus had the right mindset because she said, I want to say yes to my dreams. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to say yes to my fears because I'm
Yes.
tired of living the same life over and over again. And I kind of know where it's going to go. Well, yeah,
Yes.
you've had the whole history. So you'd rather say yes to your dreams and say
Mm-hmm.
yes to yourself, like you're
Mm-hmm.
giving yourself permission to dream and actually step into that 6 or 7 figure self of yours, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
you choose or give permission to follow that creative desire, that urge arising, like you said, from your belly. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
coming from your core that something's got to change. And I don't know what happens to other people if you don't listen to it. I know for me, if I don't listen to that spiritual inner urge, what
Mm-hmm.
happens is things don't work out well. And it seems like I have to put in more effort for something that I thought would work. So, our mind, I keep on telling my clients, do not use your mind, your ego, your brain, your head for decision making. You have to use your inner authority based on human design. And we talk about that a lot in our group sessions. And you got to speak from the heart. Because when you're in
Yes.
fear, Venus, what did I tell you guys? When you are in fear, is that of spirit.
No, spirit, no. God didn't give you the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. That's
Mm,
yeah. So that's how I was taught, and it correlates right on in it. No, God didn't give us the spirit of fear, so we shouldn't take it on, and we shouldn't allow it to get into our boundaries, permeate that seal into our boundaries either. So,
Right.
fear, we don't have to take part in that. And that's a choice.
It is a choice. And
Mm-hmm.
even if they're feeling it, right? I
Mm-hmm.
still tell them, how would your 7-figure self handle this right now? That's the first question I ask them.
Yeah.
So I remember Venus had an emergency. She was calling me from Texas. And then she was either angry, fearful, irritated. I said, take a deep breath, ground yourself. And then after, what you say, 3 minutes, share with them that experience, like of some shifts that happen, like just like that.
I
Very
know. Well, in a nutshell, after about 3 minutes with Vivian, I'm like, what problem? It was what problem did I have? What
probably
was
you
I?
have.
Yeah, was I fearful? So it's like, but that's the beauty of using your spiritual tools. That
Yeah,
is the beauty of it. And I'm just so grateful because I've growing up, and we all grew up having patterns, that just kind of rotate and rotate in your head. And coming when things hit you and it puts you on those low frequency emotions, then sometimes it activates that pattern and you keep spinning around and around. And with the spiritual tools that I was equipped with, it's like bam, just like that. So you kind of confront it. Yeah, I know, right?
lightning speed,
Yeah, I
bam.
know. I
That's
love it.
true.
Yeah, so and it just once you apply everything, it's like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing. And we've always applied things like that, strategies like that with our business, things like that, and strategies like that with our relationships. Even in, like, you may be cooking and you figure out a more efficient way to kind of get where you need to go or to prepare something. Why not have those spiritual tools equipped right there? So when you kind of find yourself in a low frequency zone, because it's going to happen, life is going to happen,
Yeah,
and it's actually just a compass to lead and guide you where you're going. But once you if you have that moment, then you have those spiritual tools to bring you back on a higher frequency.
yeah. Redirect. And one
Yes.
thing that I tell people is when you finally surrender, right? So for those of you, like I said, that love to be a control freak, right? I was one of
Mm-hmm.
them. I can tell you, I still try to do that. However, I know it's not successful. So then I just move into my spiritual tools because it's a lot more aligned, right? By the way,
Mm-hmm.
when we say aligned, it means our soul, heart, mind, body are the same. Like what you think, what you feel, what you say, and what you do totally match. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
good news with that is when you bring in clients to your fold, right? You bring in and attract these clients, they just know that you have that integrity and alignment. That's why they listen to you. So
Mm-hmm.
it's good to have standards in your practice, in your coaching business or healing practice that you have, because when you set a standard, then people actually now calibrate towards your frequency, right? So
Mm-hmm.
our job is to show up the best possible way we can, right? Based on our soul purpose.
Mm-hmm.
When we're aligned with that purpose, what happens is people that want the same alignment are gravitating towards you. They naturally look for you because they want exactly what you have. That's really that, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to ask this to the audience because you may find that your spirit, source, divine God is expressing, like, where in your life do you feel like your spirit is expressing the need for you to change? There's something there, right? So it could be a pain, right? Some kind of symptom that you have in your body. It could be you're always getting headaches when you're around a certain number of people or a certain location. There's something in your physical body that is like a barometer that tells you that something is not quite right. And please don't ignore those things because those were the signs. Like your body is a tool for you to understand that something's not quite aligned. Therefore, you need to pay attention and see what else can you do to shift, because your soul will always grow, right? If those people that are very, very satisfied with what you have, great, that's awesome. But you notice when life happens, like a divorce happens, your children leave for college, maybe they get married, something changes, or maybe you have to move to another location, relocate, have another job. Some of us have this weird feeling, right? Like, oh my God, it's changing. But that's really what's constant in life, is the change. So ask yourself, where in your life is spirit expressing the need for change? And in what ways are you out of touch with your feelings? Like where? And are you afraid of the changes that spirit is now urging you to make? Because there are fears that will come up. So what I would like to do is entertain some questions from the audience so that we can answer some of these niggling questions. Maybe you needed help with surrendering, or maybe you've surrendered and then it wasn't how you wanted it to be. Again, there was an expectation there, right? So what will you release, right? What will you release today in this process? All right. So yeah, so let's answer that first question. Where in your life is spirit expressing the need for change? Do we have any questions from the audience, or anything that you would like for us to address? Oh, I'll keep on going. Right. So there may be fear there, right? As far as fear, for fear of abandonment, because this is the most common thing that I notice what comes up for people. There is fear of abandonment. The reason why they don't want to change is because they think they might lose their spouse, because there's a dissonance there. There's a fear of change in general, right? And then there's this guilt, like what's going to happen to me if I become rich or wealthy? Something may go wrong, right? Like that's guilt, because we were programmed that if we don't look like the same people in our household, or maybe we are not the same as our friends, our income has changed, they may look at us differently and we may feel guilty just for abandoning them or changing or being different, right? There's also judgments. The different judgments that we face about ourselves. We are the worst judge, by the way. And there's criticisms. There are so many criticisms that come up. Oh, just because you're making that much money, you don't talk to me anymore, or you don't have time for me anymore, right? And people will text you. I remember Venus, remember that your relatives she went from Georgia to Texas, and now she's moving to California within a 2-month period. And I remember her say, I asked her one time, because she has this pattern that she wants to talk about the problem, right? That's normal, right? We're women. We love to talk. We love to chat. But I always use those moments efficiently for it to be a teaching moment. And she wanted to tell me, and I let her talk. And then after a while, I go, Vivian, Venus, how will your 7-figure self handle this? And what happens there, Venus? Share with the audience what happens with all those fears, judgments, guilt, criticism, everything comes up, right?
They go. Yeah, because my 7-figure self is secure. My 7-figure self knows that life happens. Knows that life happens, and when things happen, it's only just to kind of teach you. You just have to find the lessons that you can find out of it, and just know that the Most High is actually just creating a clearer path for you to move forward. So that's how I perceive that, and it's like when my 7-figure self is when I'm grounded. That's when I am grounded. I am my 7-figure self, and all of my chakras, everything is aligned, and it just brings this peace over me. And I just understand that people are going to be people. and you just understand that you have to love people for who they are and not what they do, and proceed on in life. And just let that be that. Just kind of let it roll off your back like a duck. That's something that Vivian says too, I believe.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, and your seven-figure self makes decision very quickly. So if you're a business owner, not a business owner with a hobby, right? So being a business owner is really very, it's like the fastest path to growth.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to grow, please don't be a business owner, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and if you put a plan B, like having a job or securing a job, that's really not a true business owner. A true business owner looks at their vision
Mm-hmm.
and really focuses on how can I grow to match that vision, right? Because the
Mm-hmm.
vision is bigger than us. And we say that God works through us when we embody our purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Yes.
That's really what happens. So if you like taking too much control of your life, like it has to look a certain way from the time you wake up to the time you sleep, uh, that's a lot of control. Now, you're
Mm-hmm.
not allowing the divine God universe to help you get
Mm-hmm.
to your goal, because our limited mind has this thinking pattern that it can only achieve this much. When
Mm-hmm.
we allow intuition, the universe to support us, to help us, spirit to help us, right? We
Yes.
get these miracles. So I'm telling you, when I created my 6 and 7 figure containers, and then suddenly my clients start to do 7 figures like within less than 90 days and then beyond, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's so much more potential for going beyond the millions.
Mm-hmm.
We're going into multi-million and billions within a few months. So because they step into their calling,
Yes.
key part here is you have to own it. So when God said this is your purpose, even in the
Mm-hmm.
Bible it says that, right? If you're
Yes.
given certain talents, we have to use it. We can't try to bury ourselves in the sand. Hopefully they won't find me.
Mm-hmm.
Start dimming your own light. And so when you don't step into your light, then people can't see you and people can't find you. You just
Mm-hmm.
have to be yourself. That's the key here.
Are you talking about me, Vivian?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
You have
because
to
that
be
like
yourself, right?
yes, I love it. And that's pretty much what I've been doing. And it just goes to your question that you were asking earlier. What are you willing to release, or like
Mhm.
what is the universe wanting you to change in your life? And for me, it's just the universe wants me to come out. I really feel I have an intuition that, and I've had dreams that it's like trumpets. I feel it in my chest, or I see trumpets, and I feel trumpets on the inside of me. So to me, I interpret that of something that I need to say aloud out to the world. And just like I was telling Vivian, I have been doing like this running for a long time, and really not expressing my full self because of the fear of how people, just the hassle that people come to you with when you are different. Like, why you doing this? Why you doing that? Why you got to do this like this? And all of that. Like, it's like people hassle you because you're not uh, conforming to the way things are. And it's just that's why I felt like I had kind of shelled off a little bit. But now, honey, I'm out. I'm ready. I'm ready. So this is a part of my journey. This is a part of surrendering. Surrendering again for me is not listening to my head. Not just kind of letting that go, surrendering to that, and allowing God to speak forth in my life and lead and guide me. So I'm gonna let my light shine, and I just I'm just ready. I just feel like I'm gonna meet so many lovely people. I've already hooked up with a lot of lovely people with Vivian and all the beautiful ladies that I've met through the Gold VIP program and the Up Level. Which I'm excited about because we got another one coming up. I think like the end of this month or something like that, and I'm so excited because the first Up Level I did, it literally transformed my life. Literally, I mean, I can speak that Vivian transforms people's lives. I know because I'm a living testimony of that, literally, and my life is getting better and better and better, and I'm just so excited. Oh my God. I'll be in California too, so I'm ready.
All right. Okay. So let's talk about feelings because Venus is exuding excitement, get
Yes.
ready, and feelings, right? So for the audience, in what ways are you out of touch with your feelings? Because when you have those pain, so I want to entertain anyone in the audience right now who may have had some kind of pain that they need to resolve. And let's get to the root cause of that. So we're going to give you a demo on how we do this, right? Because in Uplevel 2020, this coming up in October, we are going to do some fast lightning speed spiritual healing, not just your business, but yourself as well. So let's bring up some comments or questions that the audience may have about maybe what's coming up for them. What are they feeling and how is their body talking to them? All right. Permission to follow that from your very core. Yes, Lisa, that is very important that you follow your feelings to the core and see where it leads you. Because it's like water, right? Feelings are like water. It just kind of moves. And if you just flow with it, because if you try to stop water, like what happens? Well, you can build a dam if you like, but then there's too much resistance to go through that dam. But if you just kind of move through the feelings, it only takes a few seconds to feel the emotion. It actually, the law of attraction says it only takes 17 seconds for the universe to bring the same feeling you're having. So if you're feeling frustrated, you're going to have more things to be frustrated about if you keep on going beyond 17 seconds being frustrated. So you may want to delete that now and find what's causing the frustration, because probably you're not following your own truth, your own feelings. Yes. Lisa said she wants to say yes to her dreams. Yes, Lisa, I'm giving you complete permission to do that right now.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. All right. How would your seven-figure self handle this situation? Yep. Great teaching and reframing. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, it does. Venus, what does that do for you when that questions, by the way, when you ask yourself a question, any human a question, they actually have to pause and reflect about what you just said. So if they have a pattern, you can literally interrupt their thought pattern if they kind of go negative and then they start talking about their story and it's very negative down the rabbit hole, then suddenly you don't feel good anymore. You interrupt them by asking a question that would help them see their future self. So for you, Venus, how did it feel when I ask you that question? How would your seven-figure self handle this situation right now?
And almost like you turned on a switch. Like, it's like I kind of got
You're
the
like,
alert. Yeah, like just I don't know what that position for the soldiers when you kind of get in the saluting position
like,
or yes, that I don't even know what that position is called, but I'm sure the audience knows.
the
But
audience knows that. Military.
yeah,
Your
it's
commander's
almost
here. Salute.
yeah. So that's what it does. It actually just puts me, like, corrects me and actually puts me up on a higher plane, enlightens my mind, turns on that switch and said, this is who I am.
Remember how we defined ego in the beginning? It is biased and it's very limited and it's distorted because it's gonna reason out to you why you can't do what you said you were gonna do. Right? We set a goal and then our mind would go, well, but I don't know if I have the money for that. Where am I going to get the time for that? I'm not quite ready. So all the fear, the guilt, you know what we talked about, fear, guilt, judgments, criticisms, those are not of the spirit. Those are of your mind. So normally when I teach intuition, it's like it's a message from the divine. It comes from nowhere. It's like a whisper. Your body feels it. You feel good. You feel light and open. That's how it feels, right? When you're asking spirit, source, some help. So then you go, oh yeah, I can do that. And then the mind goes, are you sure? So the second thought is usually not of the spirit, because intuition, spirit doesn't argue. Even if you took the wrong turn, and I use this a lot when I was first starting to distinguish my intuition from my mind. I would ask a question like, would it be better to drive to Chapman or would it be better to take the freeway? And then I would get a lighter answer. And if I follow the lighter answer, somehow either miracles happen, I get there earlier. It's just easier, right? Like my whole day becomes okay. Then the other one, we go, well, I already know that this works, so let me just do this. And it's a little bit more snafu sometimes happening, and there's a lot more to deal with. So I realized the difference between intuition and the mind because I was really experimenting a lot in the beginning. Because the first thing that people would say is, are you sure that's from God or that's from the devil? That was the biggest question for intuitive healers when we start to listen to our internal guidance system. That question comes up. However, would God really, I mean, even in the Bible, would God really take you somewhere that you don't want to do things because you're going to hurt people? No. It's an experience